Hi, everybody, and welcome to the show. I'm AminaMotala, and I'm here again with Norman Traversy. Welcome, Norman. Nice to have you back on the show.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
Yeah, it really is nice to do this again. We've had a bit of a long winter, and it's nice coming into spring and reconnecting. As you know, Norman, I'm out here in Whistler, Vancouver, BC. And I spent a couple months out here in the mountains. Lots of great time to rethink and think and rejuvenate, and it's been wonderful. You may hear some children screaming in the background because I'm here with a great family visiting with them. So it's always fun to hear children crying and laughing and whatnot. Did you hear that?
Hire that kid.
Oh my gosh. So, yeah, and I think for anyone who's new here, let's do a little recap about what you and I have been working on and what you started actually over a year ago, and then we connected and we've been working diligently moving forward with a mission that I think all Canadians, Canadians who are aligned with what we're doing should be involved in, and it's a great big team effort, really. So let's start. Let's just get into it little quick recap. That is, anyway. So you had started a march, built up towards this march on July 1st, Canada Day, here in Canada, to march some documents down to the U.S. Embassy in a symbolic form. That march was where many Canadians had come down to join us that day and deliver these documents. And this particular document, maybe take it from there, Norman. What was this document about?
Okay. This document was about three things that I spoke about in my speech. Number one, child and human trafficking. Number two, Trudeau, SNC-Lavalin, and the corruption in our Canadian government and with our Canadian politicians. And as you know, SNC-Lavalin's back in the news again. They got $158 million to build so-called field hospitals.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that for sure.
We'll get to that. Anyhow, it's ongoing. And the third thing was our workplace safety boards across Canada and how they're laundering money. Literally tens of billions of dollars are being taken from Canadians and illegally put on the stock market in Canada and the US. Those were the three main things. We had a 6-page introduction that I wrote, and then there were some legal professionals that put together another 198 pages of evidence and affidavits. They were put in the red box and delivered symbolically. They were also delivered electronically. Mm-hmm. And you and I went to the Mexican embassy and hand delivered the documents there. And we were using section 27 and 27B of the newly minted United States, Mexico, Canada trade agreement.
Right.
Right.
Which I have the copyright to, by the way.
Yeah, I know. So we've got a trade agreement that specifically states that the co-signers must investigate corruption in the other countries, and they have the right and the ability to do so. So we were informing the United States and Mexico of the corruption, of the child trafficking, of the money laundering, mm-hmm. all of that. It was made very public, and it was done on the day that the USMCA came into effect. Now, since then, we've been working hard. Now, Amina and I are colleagues on this. We're working together. There's a group of us, and take it from there, Amina.
Oh, sure, I can do that. yeah, and it's been a lot of work. I brought what I can to the table in my thought process, and my I had just my visionary mindset and connections and so forth, and your the drive of again coming from a family of freedom fighters in South Africa. It's something I've really aligned with. I sought you out, I found you, and I like what you were doing because really, initially when I saw you, there were certain words you were saying, and I wanted to pursue that more. And it was about words that empower Canadians to learn more, a little bit about what our rights were. And I learned that you knew some things, but there was still a lot more that needed to be researched. And, I came across a couple of people, and one of them, of course, as you know, is Christopher James, and a couple other people too behind the scenes that I've collaborated with about common law, because common law really is a natural law, our birth given rights given to us before a birth certificate's even issued to us, by our parents. Really, they've signed us to the corporation, Canada Corporation, which is what it is, right? Canada is a corporation. It's not a country. It is a service. That's why we have Service Ontario, Service Canada. Um, it's a corporation, and so
Why we have the corporation of the city of Ottawa.
correct, absolutely, and so we, just to learn a lot more about that. If you look back on my channel, it's there a bunch of videos about common law, and it's becoming a little more prevalent. People want to know more. It's empowering people because these laws are there to ensure that you were born as a living human being with your own natural rights. And when you are given your birth certificate to the corporation, signing yourself off by your name, which what they do is they put it into capital letters, which becomes that legal name in the corporation. And that's how they use you, by that name and that number. So why discuss that? Why bring that up? Because they're using that to make a lot of money off of your birth certificate number, your name. And I mean a lot of money for per individual of this country. And it happens in other countries as well that are set up in the same format as a corporation. So we're not alone in this. And, all that money is called a trust fund. In that trust fund is where, so if your name is legally put on, so you're being traded as a commodity, as a product of the corporation. So they want to claim you as their property is what they're trying to do. And, so having said that, your product is made you as a dead entity. That birth certificate is a dead entity because it has to be a dead entity to be legal for their process. And it makes millions of dollars per person. So that trust fund, that's what that's called. That money is there collected in a trust fund. And that trust fund is what they refer to when they're issuing credit cards, that money that they want to give you back to you and then charge you interest. Mortgages, when you sign that legal name on documents like mortgages, insurance policies, they're making money with this. And this is why they have fractional reserving too. Everything's fragmented and used and reused multiple times so they can just generate as much profit as they possibly can. And I'm saying this very much in layman terms. It can get a lot more technical than what I'm saying, of course. So yeah, I just wanted to do a little recap on that to, have the followers a little bit understand truly what's going on here. If we're tyrannical and we're a corporation, so you have corporate mergers, you have corporate takeovers, think like that, think like business. And this is what's going on here in this country. You have the China cabal, you have communism, you have them infiltrating into this country by the droves. You have them taking over corporations, buying up farmland, buying, everything we buy. A lot of things over the years we bought have been made in China. So, we have to really understand the structure, how it's working, what it means, and what is really going on here. And it's important to do the research and learn these things for yourself. So having said that, if you're still with me on this, we have all this going on in common law that can empower us as human beings, because we are a living entity and we are separate from that corporation as a living entity. So, or a living being. So, having said that, what I realized was, wait a second, Norman, your case is going through the civil process. And through that civil process, how are you going to go about fighting what it is that you had mentioned, step 1, 2, and 3? How are you going to achieve that in the civil process as that corporate product, right? Product of the corporation. Why not go through the common law or use your natural birthrights to take on a system that you don't really belong to as a living being? And how can we go about that? And how can we collectively do this with other Canadians? We want all Canadians. There's no one person that's going to do this. It would take all of us to do this. And it would be, we need a certain number really to do this. And it's very achievable. And we have to empower ourselves what that means, who we are, and what we're capable of collectively. So would you agree with that, Norman? What do you think, and what can you say to that? Because you've been through this process in the civil courts, and now we are very much working with the common law knowledge.
Yeah, we've they locked me out of a courtroom, held the hearing behind locked doors. And I don't think I've mentioned this before, but I have put in 2 formal judicial review complaints to the courts, to their judicial review board that's supposed to be independent. No reply, no acknowledgement. They don't want to go there. So unless some hotshot lawyer shows up, I think we've got to change course and take the common law approach. All Canadians have been trespassed against. We've all been trespassed, every single one of them. Not just me, not just you. All of us have been trespassed against.
Exactly. That's here. And I just want to show you. Say hello.
Hello.
This is my little visitor, and he just walked in my room. So I'm going to have to find Mama and Papa and give him back to them. So say bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
This is Sequoia. Say bye, Sequoia.
Okay.
Okay, so we're back here. Yeah, and I also would love to talk a little bit about, we had a great visitors from up north of Canada. The Dene clan mothers came down, Sandra Mackenzie and Nolene Bilbrin. And it was truly an honor and a great experience being with them for an entire week and learning so much about who they are and their history. And they also did a march to march for their cause of claiming their land, where initially this is where all this had started in Canada. And, it was interesting because didn't she say, Norman, that Canada Corporation had originated the documents from United States?
She was looking for an original document concerning her tribe and her people, and she wanted to get the original, and she requested that from Ottawa, and they said, we don't have it. We've got a copy. The original is registered at Dun & Bradstreet in New York. So Canada's a corporation registered in the United States, and that was found out by a clan mother. And yeah, that was a wonderful visit with them. And we had the great honor of being invited to, I believe, their first clan mother council meeting. Mm-hmm. There was a Dene clan mother, a Cree clan mother, Algonquin clan mother, 2 Algonquin clan mothers. Yeah. And it was a historic meeting. And
it really was. It felt like it. And
yeah, it was. And we were there.
We were there, and I called up a good friend of mine, Mike Swinwood, who's a lawyer, but I say that, quietly, he's a lawyer because he did a lot of work for the tribal people across Canada, and has such a close connection. He is tribal. They call him White Buffalo. So when he does work in the courtroom, he goes with a consciousness coming from there rather than from the draconian legal system. And amazing work that he's done. I have an interview with him as well. It's on my channel, Mike Swinwood. And so, yeah, he brought the clan mothers that he is connected with here in Ontario, right? The grandmothers. And they all came together for this meeting. It was a beautiful thing. And also another good friend of mine, Douglas Cardinal, who is an elder, and he's the architect of the Museum of Civilization, known today as the, a Museum of History. And great individual, great man. We're all good friends, and what a meeting. Like Norman, that was really an honor.
What an honor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, we learned a lot from each other. And, the fact that Canada, like you said, Nolene had discovered these documents being signed in New York City in the United States. And that's very telling, should say a lot, because the United States is also a corporation. Of course, this is where we are the subsidiary to the parent company, which is the United States.
And I believe the United States, as of this year, is no longer a corporation. I think that's what's going on in the background, that they are going to go back to what they were originally, a constitutional republic.
So when you say that, you're referring to good individuals, human beings, working hard at changing the system, at bringing it back to its original intentions of the forefathers, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
And forefathers meaning foresight. They had foresight. That's why they're called forefathers. So how interesting if this is what's happening. And again, we don't have proof of this, but it's just the research that we do on our own. We do confide in and collaborate with a 2-star major retired general in the United States, who works diligently at learning a lot more about Canada and writing articles actually for standupamerica.com. So what would you say to that? Because the United States is watching Canada quite a bit, aren't they?
They are. We've got a lot of connections in the States, and it's the elephant and the mouse, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
The elephant sneezes and the mouse gets pneumonia. So
that's a good way of putting it. That's what it feels like here in Canada. Like we're locked up here. The borders, they're what they've done is they've told us if we travel internationally, when we come back, we have to be quarantined in their hotels. If this is what they decide in the airport, that you need to go to one of their hotels, and you're not allowed to contact your family. You are given meals. You can't buy your own meals. There are no locks on the doors. There's been reports
you have to pay the $2,000 yourself
to stay there, right? And have these really inexpensive meals like ham sandwiches and an apple and food, like very basic. But for that kind of money, it seems like it's unfair, maybe.
Unfair.
So,
there have also been sexual assaults there.
I heard about that
by the guards.
I heard about that. Rebel News had talked about it. Another gentleman, Chris Guy, he apparently was traveling abroad and came through, and he exercised his common natural rights and said that I refused to have the test taken because you also have to be tested, and he refused it. And he said Section 6 of the Charter of Rights and Section 14.1 of the Emergency Act, I do not have to take this test and you will not quarantine me. And they said that's fine, and they let him go. So exercise your rights. We do have rights, and these are not laws. These are rules. Bylaws are rules. And they gave him a fine, I think $700 or whatever that amount was. Just like retail stores, when they say you can't open, you can stay open, they will fine you, but these fines are not contested in court. they don't go there. They tell you that you can't come to court. So they know you're going to win. They know they can't fight.
Also, as we said earlier, these organizations, cities, Canada, they're corporations. Corporations have bylaws. Bylaws only apply to those people that work for the corporation or have some kind of contract with the corporation.
They've taken an
So
oath, right?
they do not apply to us.
That's
It'd
right.
be like McDonald's giving you a fine.
Correct.
So,
Because they work for us. They actually in turn work for us.
yes.
And so we can, but I mean, a lot of these police officers and bylaw officers don't know this. They don't fully understand and know what they've taken an oath to and what this truly means. So, and it's bizarre that, anyone who thinks that, it should be and stores should be closed and, the coronavirus is dangerous, and then ask yourself, why do they not teach the police officers the true structure? Why do they not know this? Why do I know this if I want to exercise this? And then you could come across one of these individuals who wouldn't know it. Why? Wouldn't we know all this? We seem to know a lot about the legal system and the court laws. So I ask that all the time. Why? Why are we having these divides or discrepancies? Keep asking. It's important to think for yourself. So I've come up with some answers, and it's a positive thing.
Well, change happens first with yourself. You can't change anything else until you change yourself first.
That's correct.
And I think that's where we can quote from Ephesians in the Old Testament, which applies to, right?
Can you explain Ephesians? It's what knowledge does that come from? Can you just give a little description?
It's the Old Testament, and the Old Testament belongs to the Abrahamic religions. That's Islam, Judaism, and Christianity. And Ephesians is one of my favorite books because it's got some great quotes in there. One's about putting on the armor of God, and the other one about who your real enemies are, the invisible rulers. And Amina, I guess you're going to put that up on later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that I like that perspective, and I think it's nice to look back at these historical documents and refer to them and give it some value. They're not here for nothing. That's how I look at it. And there was a time in my life where I looked at spirituality, I looked at New Age, I looked at so many things, and you have to be very careful because a lot of these things came in very recently. And so I asked myself, why? And who's putting it out there? And what does this really mean? And I keep digging further again and keep asking questions again and keep going further into that because it's important. So, because it can shift consciousness on this planet. So we do have to take responsibility. And yeah. I think that originally a lot of these things that were told to us, whether it's the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, or what have you, I think a lot of them were hijacked, and I think a lot of things were skewed and given to us in a way that we don't fully understand. So we reject it, and then we go to these things like New Age and stuff like that. But let's back it up a little bit and look at these things and looking at the Ephesians verses, which I'll put up for the viewers. I'll put one of these up.
And another thing is that we were talking about this earlier, is the references to serpents.
Yes. And that's what I mean by, just a second. Yeah, so they refer to in the Bible the serpent, the story of the serpent. So please go ahead.
Yeah, the great deceivers. And it's the serpent that deceives Adam and Eve is depicted as a snake. But a serpent could be any kind of reptile. Right. We just take it to mean snake.
Yeah, it could be another being of some sort, not necessarily a snake, but this is the assumption that has, I think, anyway. I mean, I know there are serpents in artwork, and they put serpents in a lot of the stories, and there is a significance to the serpent, and what the meaning and symbolism of this serpent is. But it depends too on some of the verses and how they're written. I'm not an expert, so I can't really speak on it too much, but what I can do is put up some of these verses, and you can, judge for yourself and see what you see in that. I'll read one of them. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Ephesians 6:12. So what can you say to this one?
Well, we know there is darkness in the world,
Mhm.
which is the first part of my speech on Parliament Hill. We were talking about human trafficking, child trafficking. What could be darker than
Exactly.
that? Epstein Island, what could be darker?
I can't see
So,
anything being darker. Yeah.
no, so that's what we're struggling against.
Mhm.
And it seems that these evil people have all the money. And until recently, they had all the power.
Mhm.
And
Exactly.
there are a number of us, including you and me, Amina, but also the clan mothers that are fighting for the light.
That's right.
And, that's what we're about. We're doing it different ways, and we may not always agree, but we're putting on the armor of God and going ahead.
Absolutely. Amen to that. And God, a creator, spirit, I like to use those words. We have a spiritual creator that's larger than life and larger than us. And we are all connected, and we're all one in that respect. But it's to understand truly what that means too. We're all one. I'm not claiming to be God or creator by any means, but I think, doing what, your movement and what or our movement, because of course I've been a part of it now for a while. I think moving through this, it is a great thing to do it collectively. We're all together to do this. We welcome common law knowledge. If there's people out there with this knowledge, we welcome that even in your prayers, in your positive thinking, to align with this. It's human beings in Canada, in the States, and other countries, and we can collectively come together and rise up to this occasion in our life, in this existence, what's going on right now.
I'd like to tell the story of how we met Nolene, the Dene clan mother. Did she contact you first or me first? I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Anyways, she said, Norman, we're holding a tobacco ceremony on the shores of Great Slave Lake every evening for you. Oh my God. What do you say to that?
Yeah, she's been telling me the same, and the prayers there for us. I am so grateful. It's such a beautiful thing. Yeah. Very, very, very lovely.
Yeah, we've got some heavy hitters on our side.
Well, you're as heavy as you want to be. And, honestly, it is what you do, and we're all equal. And that's what I'm saying. We all collectively can, reach the same place together.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean that from all of my heart. So
yeah, me too.
Yeah. I would like to add something towards, just to conclude a little bit here. So we're working diligently still on everything. There's lots to do. We do have somebody who's promised to do work with the case in the common law courts, the public courts, whose plate is quite full, and we are waiting patiently to move, the case forward. There's limited expertise out there in this subject, so it's taking a little bit longer. But, in the meantime, if anything were to happen outside of what we're doing, we're all have these, goals that are common, and this is what we want. So it's not a question of one person being a lone ranger. It's about something happening, and that's what we wish for and pray for. So I just wanted to add that. Having said all this, you can see behind me, I have a picture of blockchain or a techie picture behind me. So those who don't know, I'm in the blockchain space, the cryptocurrencies and blockchain. I have been for a few years. And it is a world we're going into with all this going on, with the pandemic, with the change, with the new wheel being designed. There's a lot going on. And for some, it's scary. For some, they have no understanding of what this all means. And it is, because they're leaving an old wheel and building a new wheel. And we're in the middle. And when you change patterns, when you go from one pattern to another pattern, always in that middle, that moment that's in the middle is chaos. So it may seem like that for some people. There's a lot of devastation on the planet with, people, what they're going through with this. Very sad times for some people. But this is the chaos period. And we, it's to embrace it. And I just want to encourage those out there. Norman has become privy to learning a little bit more about it. And Norman, you had come to me and you wanted to know, and you I'm not a financial advisor by any means. I don't give financial advice, but I did explain to you a little bit about the blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies and what it means, because I am in the scenes a little bit behind. I've built quite a great network there. I've learned a lot of information of what's going on. I really seek to work with good individuals with conscious minds, trying, building great projects to help us advance. There's always dark and there's always light in these things. I really try my best to stay in the light and find those, those people and those projects. But having said all that, you learn a little bit more, and I've guided you a little bit of what you were looking for and what you wanted, and you seem to be quite pleased with what you're learning, and you seem to do really well with it. So congratulations on learning a whole new digital aspect to owning your own money. And It's not just about money, right? It's also these blockchain projects that are being built that are really interesting. It's basically like a new way of an internet system, right? It's a recording ledger system. So yeah, and you seem to be happy with what you've learned so far in some of the choices you've made. So good for you.
I'm extremely happy, and thanks to you, Amina. Thank you.
Well, you asked, and if
Yeah,
you're curious and you want to know, I'm willing to help. So for sure, I am designing and building a course to help those get some knowledge. I'm going to start with the beginner course and intermediate and advanced course. So I want to put that out there too, because I thought about it for a long time, and I have many people reaching out to me and asking. So I thought, why don't I just put a course together? Because it's a lot of work. I put a lot of work into this and learning what I know, and I think it'd be a lot easier to put it. I thought, put it in a course, have it available, and if you're interested, then it's there for you to purchase. So but definitely great to see the interest in people wanting to know more about it and learn about it.
Yeah. Wave of the future.
Yes.
We're in a state of flux right now.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So anything else you want to talk about, Norman? I think we're at
I think we're done. We're going ahead the best way we know how. We're going ahead as a group, not as individuals, and we're working on this diligently. So we're not resting on our laurels by any means.
Yeah, and for any of you who want to reach out to us, there is a screening process. We do have to check through a lot of sometimes we've encountered a lot of difficult challenges in just anyone reaching out and offering their help, and it wasn't so much help, so it becomes time consuming, and we don't have that kind of time to spend trying to figure these things out. So definitely, though, go to justiceforcanada.ca or AminaMotala.com. Either way, you can reach us, whether it's blockchain or for Justice for Canada, either one. And yeah, I'll put the links, they'll be all there. So, and we will be back, right, Norman? Maybe we could do a blockchain 101, how we go through some of the things that you did, and maybe teach some people. Maybe that would be a fun thing to do.
I would love that. I would love that.
Cryptocurrencies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds
Okay.
good, Norman. We'll take care, and it was great chatting today.
Thank you very much, Amina. God bless.
Thank you very much, Norman. God bless. God bless everybody.